God's hands in world politics. The world great military powers herald that they can use any means if they suspect a threat against its national interest. In international politics, the national interest of a nation is vital. As our president, Mr. Barack Obama, just wrote in Seoul, capital of South Korea, we do not use our military might to impose this thing on others, but we will not hesitate to use our military might to defend our allies and our ways of life, said our cool-headed president. Political realism noted that all nation-states are motivated by its national interests. A president can become irrational by defending the national interests of his country. The national interest of a nation is a multifaceted notion. Each nation can define its national interests different ways. However, most of the nations in the world put security at the state survival. In this case, security is its national interest. But other countries might pursue that wealth, economic growth, and power as their national interests. As noted in Wikipedia, the national interest often referred to by the French expression raison d'etat, English reason of a state. It's a country goal and ambition, whether economic, military, or cultural. The concept of an important one is international relations, where pursuit of the national interest in the foundation of the realist school. Needless to declare that a state can escalate in wars just to defend its national interests. In an economic point of view, mercantilism can be classified as an economic justification of aggressivity, pursuit of nation interests. Mercantilism was the cause of several wars in Europe. Genesis 9:27 can be correlated with mercantilism. May God extend the territory of Japheth. May God Japheth live in the tent of shame, and may Canaan be slaves. God had been prevented the world from falling in a new dark age. The world has been broken into an evil age. Adolf Hitler, the former German dictator, was eager to find a scientist that could make him a nuclear bomb in order to plunge the world in the dark. In despite of the reputation of German engineering, Hitler, the Nazis were unable to capitalize on their advanced weaponry, including a nuclear bomb. Hitler's nuclear energy fell because God knew that Hitler was a devil. And if he permitted him to have a nuclear bomb, the world could be converted in a furnace. As Winston Churchill, the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, stated, "If Hitler invaded hell, I would make at least a favorable reference to the devil in the House of Commons." The ultimate fate of the world cannot be effectuated by man. Only God can set the world on fire. 2 Peter 3, verse 11 and 13 stated, "Since everything around us is going to melt away, what holy, godly live you should be living. You should look forward to that day and hurry it along. The day when God will set the heaven on fire and the element will melt away in the flames." But we are looking forward to the new heavens and the new earth He has promised. A world where everyone is rife with God. The force of good prevailed on the force of evil. God inspired United States to save the world from Adolf Hitler's aggression. Adolf Hitler's ambition was to conquer the world by using any means at its disposal. The world civilization was on the brink of collapsing. General Charles de Gaulle, the former president of France, said, The destiny of the world was at the stake. God used his strong hands to prevent the repetition of the Dark Age history. I have no doubt that God used his power to exempt the world from complete destruction by indicating the coalition of how to win the Second World War. At that moment, Europe was a butchery where blood, corpses did spread everywhere. It was sad to inform that Mr. Winston Churchill, the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, said to his people, "I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat." The force of good fought hardly against Hitler's aggression in order to conserve the world civilization that we are living now. Adolf Hitler's intention was to establish a darkness power in the world. In another term, a kingdom of darkness. God did save the world from the power of evil. Colossians 1 verse 13 posited, God has delivered us from the power of darkness and translated us into the kingdom of the Son of his love. The coalition of the force of good that won the Second World War wanted to share the world by their own ways. One of them could not erect a new world order that could benefit all the international community. It was not easy for them to find a common ground because of man's evil nature. Each of them wanted to establish a new world order that could protect the national interests. It was really a difficult moment for the big three, which was Joseph Stalin of the Soviet Union, Franklin D. Roosevelt of the United States, Winston Churchill of United Kingdom, to negotiate a new geopolitical map for Europe. Big Three had a hard time to cooperate during the Yalta Conference, where each of them wanted to establish their own agenda. Each one of them stood firm to defend the interests of their country. Joseph Stalin, the former Prime Minister of the Soviet Union, was eager to defend the geopolitical interests of his country. He was an expansionist. He refused to negotiate over Poland because Russia's national interests. As he heralded during a meeting, for Russian people, the question of Poland is not only a question of honor but also a question of security. Throughout history, Poland has been the corridor through which the enemy has passed into Russia. Poland is a question of life and death for Russia. It was clearly a question of national interest. Consequently, their decision changed the world and gave birth to the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union. The expansionist ambition created an unstable and an uncertain world, and they later made the people of the world thought about the Third World War. Fortunately, the sovereignty of God will never let the man destroy the world. The Bible clearly teaches that mankind cannot destroy the world, but it also teaches that he could not destroy it even if he desired to do so. The willingly ignorant of mankind makes them think that can destroy the world. Indeed, mankind can make things very bad, but God will never allow mankind to destroy the earth. They profoundly deceive themselves. Revelation 7 verse 1 states, "After this thing I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, on the sea, or on any tree." God is great. October 1962, if God did not intervene, the world could be in flame. Cuban Missile Crisis was needed to reverse the world civilization. Cuban Missile Crisis was a dangerous confrontation between the United States and Soviet Union. Fidel Castro, the ex-Cuban leader, assumed his right to protect the national interests of his country by agreeing with Nikita Khrushchev to place nuclear missiles in Cuba in order to deter the United States to invade the island. John F. Kennedy, the former United States president, justified that United States interests was at the stake in Cuba, and he concluded placing Soviet nuclear missile in Cuba is an act of aggression against his nation. Those three actors, Fidel Castro of Cuba, Nikita Khrushchev of the Soviet Union, and John F. Kennedy of the United States, was ready to use anything at their disposal to defend the interests of their country. The world faced a threat of a new dark age. The two nuclear powers, the Soviet Union and the United States, were on the brink of a nuclear war. Fidel Castro, the Cuban leader, wanted to confront the United States more than words. And Kennedy, the former United States president, decided to overthrow that challenge because of the Bay of Pigs, which was an attempt to overthrow Castro's regime, made him appearing weak. Therefore, he had to show the American his muscles. And Nikita Khrushchev, the Soviet Union leader, wanted to teach the United States a lesson by saying, what is good for goose is good for gander. In another way of saying, if United States could deploy US-built Jupiter BMS armed with nuclear warheads in Turkey and Italy against the Soviet Union, so the Soviet Union could also do the same by deploying the nuclear missiles in Cuba, which is 90 miles from Florida. Nikita Khrushchev was not Joseph Stalin, but he could be erratic when he had to defend the national interests of the Soviet Union. Fidel Castro was not afraid about a nuclear war between those three nations, and John F. Kennedy was a rational leader, a cool-haired man, but he was the president of a great nation. He had the responsibility to confront any threat against his country. I speculate by saying John F. Kennedy invoked God to ask the Lord what he's supposed to do in that morass. God taught to the environmentalist that he is God. The environmentalists declared that mankind possesses the ability to destroy the world. And God proved the environmentalists that they are wrong and out of touch with the reality by changing the course, the direction of Cuban Missile Crisis. God intervened in the affairs of mankind in order to preserve the world civilization because the world could not afford a new dark age. Moreover, the Bible clearly teaches that God not only created all that exists, but he also sustains all that he created. Hebrew 1 verse 3 affirms, the sun of radiance of God's glory, and the exact representation of his being, sustaining all things by his powerful word. After he had provided purification for sins, he sat down at the right hand of the Majesty in heaven. Sacrificium Deo Spiritus Omnium Nostrum. May God bless all. Thank you.